Hey folks, welcome back. Today we're going to learn how to design the Automoblox rear bed just like the one seen here. Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to come on over here. We're going to do a file and a new design. Let's come on up here and we're going to create a sketch on our XY plane. And then we're going to come on over here to create and we're going to grab our rectangle tool and we're going to do a center rectangle here. And we are going to draw out a rectangle, okay, with the following dimensions. Notice how it's highlighted blue. I'm going to type in 1.53. I'm going to hit tab button. And then the other dimension that's highlighted blue, I'm going to make that 3.17 and then hit enter. Okay, and that's it for this sketch. Let's go ahead and finish our sketch. And then we're going to extrude it out a distance of 3.5 inches. Now let's go ahead and start a sketch on here to make this hollow sort of cavity here. I'm going to grab my rectangle tool and I'm going to zoom in just so you guys can see better. And I'm going to drag out a square, something like this. All right, and I'm going to go ahead now and dimension it 0.3 inches from this side, 0.3 inches from this side, 0.39 inches from this side, and then from here, my overall length for this rectangle, I want it to be a distance of 2.4. Hit enter. Okay, now we're going to come on up here. We're going to add some 2D fillets. So I'm going to click here and then click on that line. Make sure those fillets are 0.2. And I'm just going to keep going around and adding them. And when I'm done, just go ahead and hit enter. All right, that'll do it for this sketch. Let's go ahead and finish it. We're going to extrude this guy. We want to go the other way. We want to cut a distance of minus 0.57 inches and then hit OK. All right, now we're going to create our bed portion, the hollow portion on top here. So let's go ahead and start a sketch on there. Let me center this guy for you guys. I'm going to once again draw out a square, roughly, yay big or so. I'm going to dimension it here. 0.335 inches from this side. And then we're going to go from here to this side. We're going to make that distance 0.84. We're going to make the overall length here. We're going to make that 2.5. And then this distance, we're going to make that 2.28. Okay, and then we got to add those 2D fillets again. And those are way too big, so let's change that to 0.2. And keep going around so that all four corners have them. Okay, looking good. Let's go ahead and hit enter. Finish our sketch. And notice how when you add those 2D fillets, it automatically puts in those tangent constraints for you. That's pretty cool. So let's go ahead and finish our sketch. Let's extrude that guy. And we're going to go the other way, a distance of -1 inches. Go ahead and hit OK. All right, so now let's go ahead and create those little slots or those little notches that you see on the side here. So I'm going to zoom in here. I'm going to grab my rectangles and I'm going to make sure I'm on this line here. Okay, and I am going to draw out a square here that is 0.06. I'm going to hit the tab button by 0.06, enter, and I'm just going to dimension this point to the top, 0.3. I'm going to make one on the other side. Find this line here, draw out another square that's 0.06, tab by 0.06, hit enter, and once again dimension it from the top here, a distance of 0.3. Now let's go ahead and finish our sketch because we are done. And we're going to extrude those out. Let's go the other way a distance of -3 inches and hit OK. All right, now we're going to go ahead and make the axle holes. So we're going to click on this face and start a sketch. Okay, and I'm going to come on up here to create, and I'm going to grab a point here, and somewhere sort of in this vicinity, right here. Okay, I'm going to just drop my point. I'm going to add some dimensions here now. Let's see here, from this side to this side, I want it to be 2. And then from here to the bottom, I would like that distance to be 0.3. All right, now let's finish our sketch. We're going to make a hole where that point is. So we're going to click on hole, and then we're going to click on the point. And we want that to be a diameter of 0.29 and a depth of 0.35. And then hit OK. Now let's go ahead and mirror this feature on the other side here. So I'm going to come on up here to create. I'm going to select mirror. I'm going to select on the feature I want to mirror. And then it's asking me, hey, which plane do you want to mirror from it off of? And I'm going to hit select, and then I'm going to come on over here to origin. And I'm going to select my YZ plane and hit OK. And nice, we have it on both sides now. All right, now we're going to go ahead and make the taillights here. So let's start a sketch here on the back end. All right, and I'm going to come on up, and we're going to create a couple more points. And I'm just going to sort of, in this general area, click here, and I'm going to click here and just kind of make one on the other side. You could also use the mirror tool probably for both of these. I'm just going to make them all 4 at the same time. So I'm going to dimension it from the top here. To each light is 0.28. And then from this one to this one, same thing, 0.28. And I'm going to dimension from this side, 0.19. Okay, and notice because I have that vertical constraint in here, they both moved over. Okay, now let's go ahead and do this side, 0.28, and between them, 0.28, and then from the side here, we want that to be 0.19. All right, we're looking good. Let's go ahead now and finish our sketch. Now let's come on up to our hole again and make some holes here. So I'm going to click on here, 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 and here. And I want the diameter to be 0.2. And I want the depth to be 0.13. Okay, I'm going to go ahead now and hit OK. All right, so now we are going to add a fillet here right at the bottom that has a radius of 0.75. Hit OK. All right, so now we got to kind of extrude and cut away a little bit from our back end here, because if you look at the Automoblox rear end, it's not exactly flat. All right, so let's start a sketch here on this face. I'm going to zoom in. All right, so now let's go to create, and we're going to project some geometry here. I'm just going to project the exterior lines here. Okay, and then hit OK. All right, so now I'm going to come on up. I'm going to grab my 3-point arc, okay, and right around in here somewhere, I'm going to just click, and then I'm going to just somewhere up in here, I'm going to kind of just click again, and I'm going to drag out an arc that looks something like that. All right, I'm going to grab my dimension tool. I'm going to dimension from here to the bottom. I want that distance to be 0.5. Okay. Now I'm going to zoom in here so you guys can see better. I'm going to keep my dimension tool, and I want to dimension this distance from here to here. I want that to be 0.03. Hit enter. All right. And now I'm going to grab my tangent constraint, and I'm going to make this tangent to that. Okay, now I'm going to hit escape, and I'm going to delete this dimension here, and I'm going to dimension this height of this. So I want this height now to be 0.12. All right, now I'm going to hit escape. I'm going to come back and grab my 3-point arc tool again, continue where we left off, and I'm going to click right here, something like that. Okay, and I'm going to hit escape to take me out of the arc. And now I'm going to add a dimension here. I want this distance here to be 0.02. Okay, and now I'm going to add another constraint, a tangent constraint. All right, and we're looking pretty good. I'm going to hit escape to get me out of the tangent constraint there. And now I'm going to grab my line tool now, and I'm going to close my loop. So I'm going to zoom in, and I'm just going to start here, and I'm going to come all the way up to the top. I'm going to click here, and I'm going to come all the way down to here. Okay, and I projected my geometry. I probably don't even need to draw that. So I'm going to just actually edit, undo this line and this line. So all I have is this section right in here. Okay, and I want to add one more tangent constraint. I want to make this tangent to that. Okay, so I have 3 of them total. That'll give me a nice flowing transitions of arcs here. So I have 2 arcs that have a nice tangent transition here, if you will. All right, so I'm going to go ahead now and finish my sketch. And I am going to extrude now this portion. Okay, we're going to go the other way, and we're going to go to a distance to all, and we're going to cut it, and we're going to hit OK. All right, so the last thing we need to add now are the fillets. So if you did your tangent constraints properly, you should have no problem getting those fillets on here. So we're going to come on over here to fillet, and I'm going to just click on that line and this line. I'm going to rotate around. Same thing on this side, this line and that line, and I'm going to change it to 0.3. Go ahead and hit OK. Okay, and that's it for this part. The last thing we want to do is to go ahead now and give it a physical material. I'm going to assign it cherry wood to be consistent with all the other Automoblox parts. Okay, and when you're done, don't forget to don't forget to save your work. All right, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.